Believe it or not, and in spite of all the GoPro cameras that filmed October 7th's murders, rapes, and torture of the Israelis, some people don't believe and they think it was fake. We have a report on a father and son duo that raped and killed together. Quite a family. The Israeli Defense Forces released a video showing two Palestinians, both members of Hamas, a father and son, who have confessed to numerous rapes and murders on October 7th. I want you to see these guys. I'm not going to play the video because it's with the subtitles, it's so horrific that I literally looked at it 2 or 3 times and I just couldn't get through it. And
really,
I was literally creating the show and it was just killing me. The father and son on tape confessed to kidnapping people and raping women in kibbutz near Oz on October 7th. The footage shows Jamal Hussein Ahmad Radi, 47, he's on the left, and his wonderful son Abdallah, 18, sitting next to him. Listen to what they confessed to do. They said they're both members of Hamas. The father said he's a member of the Hamas security forces, and his son, Abdallah, didn't have an official job because he had just turned 18, so dad took him along for the fun. They crossed the fence with 3 men, and they killed or kidnapped every single person they found. According to the interrogation, they brought their cousins with them, and he said his cousin convinced him to go. He didn't want to do it, but he said they walked into the first house, they shot and killed a couple in their 40s, then they split up. They found people in the next house already dead. Then they went to another house, a mother and her daughter were there. They gave them to other Hamas members and they were driven away. He was asked, why were they killing everyone they met? And he said, because the doors were open and we went in and killed everyone we found. And then he talks about he and his father taking turns raping a young woman after the other terrorists there had gotten done with her. So he says, I took her into another room. I had sex with her. She was screaming. She was crying. I did what I did. I raped her. And then his father killed the girl after he raped her. I mean, I'm scrolling through the transcripts and it is so horrible. I literally have never seen anything like it. This is the house that they left in near Oz, the kibbutz. Anyone who was left in there was burned alive because they torched it. These animals, and I don't mean to use that word as an insult to animals, I truly do wish that Israel had the death penalty for these two, because if there were anyone that ever deserved it, these guys do. And after these transcripts were released and the videos with them confessing on video, Pramila Patten of the UN actually said that there's some evidence that Hamas used sexual violence on October 7th. Wow, what a big conclusion for Hamas.
You know what, Barry?
I mean, for the UN to decide about Hamas.
You know, one thing I wish they wouldn't do is that, you know, the picture of the 2 monsters, okay, not to insult monsters, okay, but the picture with those 2 monsters, I don't like the fact that they have the Israeli flag behind them. And the reason why I don't like it is because these idiots, they're going to take this and they're going to say that these were Hamas and they did this. No, I'm sorry. They're going to say that these were Israelis and they did this horrible act. And they're going to say, look, right there, they're standing in front of their flag. That's how the propaganda, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I wish they would have thought about that when they were doing the interview and doing the pictures like that. They should put just a plain background or something, but not the Israeli flag, because these people, they twist the truth every single step of the way. They twist it all the time. These monsters need to be represented by what they represent. Evil, demonic stuff, and that's all you need to see them as.
What an interesting comment. I didn't think about that, but you make a good point. And I suppose if some of these college imbeciles were making comments about it, maybe the response would be, here's the video, idiot, look at it. This is them in Arabic confessing. But you're right. Most of the people that are being interviewed on college campuses don't have a clue
No.
and don't dig deeper than an inch into any subject for the reason that they really don't care.
No, they don't care. And if they do see anything, they'll probably just see that picture, because they want to make they make sure that these idiots that supporting Hamas, they don't ever see the horrific things that Hamas is doing. They don't ever see those images. But they take this image here with the father and the son, and they'll say there was not. Look, these are Israelis, and they'll push that propaganda out there quickest. And what made me come to that conclusion, to make me think about that, because they're saying that Israel did October 7th, Barry, which I'm pretty sure you've heard it. I know you heard it. I know you heard him say it. And so if they're going to say that about that day, they'll say it about this picture.
You're right. You're 100% right. And when you're dealing with people that recast the truth in whatever version or narrative they want to, it's very difficult to deal with it. I mean, can you imagine if this was your home and you were away that day and you came back to that and found your parents, your brothers, your sisters burned alive?
Oh my goodness.
I was invited several times by some high-ranking IDF officials to come to Nir Oz, this kibbutz, and videotape live and do our show from there. And I just couldn't get myself to do it. When they called me from the kibbutz and said, please come this week or next week, we have clearance for you. And I asked him to describe it, and he said the smell of death is so heavy in the air.
Oh, wow.
Remember all the humans that were burned to death.
Yeah.
They both told me they'll never, ever, ever forget it. Ever, ever, ever forget it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that, you could forget it. I mean, if the only way you could forget it is if you're not human, if you're a monster
100%,
yourself.
100%. I just hope the world doesn't forget. We need to keep reminding them, Will.